Well, yes, TNT, welcome to another episode of COASSIN. Today I have a really special episode to share with you guys. Over the years, I've been lucky enough to have some truly breathtaking moments out on the ocean. Some of these moments I was able to capture on film. The first event took place right here in the channels that separate Trinidad and Venezuela. My wife and I were out on a day of fishing, and we had just finished fishing this one spot. And as we headed across to the new spot, we could see in the distance there was a bunch of dolphins on the surface. And we're like, yes, that's exactly what we came here for. So we headed across to them and realized it was way more than we expected. It was a whole bunch of them, and they all came towards the boat, and they were super friendly. Now, sometimes you get these pods of dolphins that kind of shy away and they come to see the boat once and they don't come back again. But these were super friendly and they were super playful, which presented the perfect opportunity for us to jump in the water. So there's a whole bunch of dolphins around, and we're gonna hopefully jump in the water and take a swim with them if they don't run away. A little scared. We'll see how it goes. It's a lot of them. We drove with them for some time and they stuck around the boat. They even had a baby that came with his mother, and they were swimming by the bow. After some time, we just said, all right, let's get our diving stuff on, let's jump in the water and swim with them. After swimming around for a couple of minutes with the dolphins, we realized that they got a little bit bored of us. And it's probably because we weren't swimming around fast enough or we weren't doing anything interesting. So I know from experience that the faster you go is the more they tend to stick around and the more they get interested in you and they come closer. So we got back in the boat and I asked Ariane if she wants to be pulled by the boat, because typically speaking, they'll come by the boat when you're moving faster. Ariane decided she didn't want to go in the water. She didn't feel comfortable with it. So I threw the rope in the water and I jumped in and Ariane drove off. Sure enough, they came close to see what was going on. While I was being pulled by the boat, a lot of dolphins came close to me. But at one point in time, they had what seemed to be the most dominant one, clearly the biggest and the bravest one, swim straight up to me. As always, it was a real treat jumping in the water with the dolphins. Even when I don't get to jump in the water, I just have to go and see dolphins. Every time I see them, I have to drive up to them and look at them. And when you get to them with the boat, it's the same thing happens with every pod that you see. They come up, they're excited to see the boat, they get under the boat, and they look up at you and they look straight into your eye, and they have a really intense, deep eye contact that you just don't really feel with any other animals in the wild. It's really something special. Trinidad's coastal area has constantly fascinated me since I was young. There's almost always something interesting to see if you're paying close attention. There's two manta rays right there. They look like they might be making a love. That is epic. I think there's a little love in the air tonight. There are also days where finding the action is less difficult. During the March to May months, shoals of anchovy can be observed for miles along the west and north coast. At this time of the year, finding a fish could be easy if you just look to the sky. Feeding seabirds, such as pelicans and seagulls, are often easy indicators of the activity that sits just below the surface. What's up? Huh? Oh. Once located, we could now drive to where the action is, and that's when things get exciting. Oh my God, Reese, go! Go! Go closer! Go closer, Reese! The shoals of anchovy packed tightly together, while below sits a school of hungry tarpon. The anchovy get pushed towards the surface as the tarpon increase in numbers. Eventually, the anchovy get packed so tight against the surface that predators from above have easy opportunities to feed. Below, a school of Spanish mackerel join in on the feast. This phenomena is not only an opportunity for the fish and birds. When the fish show up, it's also an opportunity for us, the fishermen. Reese, move it thing faster! Reese! Reese, move it thing faster! No, I don't want to stop. This is epic. Oh God, that's a tiny one. Oh my gosh, get up there. What is that? A yellow jack? Look at that one, look at that one. Look at that beast there. That was a big one. Oh. Hey. Did it? Yeah. Nice. It's a good fight. Wow! As the anchovies swim further offshore, the pelicans are seen less and less, and the iconic frigate birds arrive in numbers. Out there, tarpon, jacks and mackerel aren't common, but a new predator emerges from the depths in great numbers. Blackfin tuna. The anchovies stand no chance. The shoal of anchovy is reduced to the size of a football, and the remaining survivors attempt to retreat to deeper waters. For the next story, we travel further north to our neighbor island, Grenada. Each year, a yellowfin tuna tournament is held in their waters. Although I enjoy the fishing very much, this year's highlight was not the tuna. Approximately 20 miles offshore, while fishing, we spotted something that got my attention. Sperm whales are migratory mammals that transition through the Caribbean waters. I couldn't resist myself, so I begged the crew to allow me to hop off the boat and get in the water with them. The water was unbelievably blue, and not before long, a bus-sized shadow appears in front of me. These gentle giants can grow almost 60 feet in length and weigh up to 45 tons. That's 90,000 pounds for those wondering. And with all that size, you could bet they eat a ton, and I mean that quite literally. These whales can dive several thousand feet below the surface to hunt giant squids and fish, and that daily diet could amount to 1 ton. After allowing me to spend some time alongside her, she gently kicked off into the depths. The next adventure brings us back to Trinidad. As seeing those marks there, those are in fact tarpon. There we go. Tell ya. Tarpon are a common species I target around the smaller islands sitting off the northwest point of Trinidad. On any given day, one can see tarpon breaking the surface, taking gulps of air. The act is commonly referred to as rolling among fishermen and can be a spectacular sight. A day my friend Reese and myself ventured further down the west coast to a location reported to have unheard of numbers of tarpon. Sure enough, the reports were true. The size of the rolling school was larger than any size I've ever seen before. I had to jump in the water to see just how big the school was for myself. Walls of tarpon, stacked 40 feet tall, surrounded us. All my life I've fished and dove locations known to have healthy populations of tarpon, but nothing comes close to this. It truly would be interesting to understand what brings these fish here in these astounding numbers. The coasts of our islands are teeming with both beauty and life. Whether it's the nutrient-rich waters of Trinidad or the Caribbean blue waters of Tobago, you can always expect to see life around every corner. Reefs overflowing with life and friendly mammals we've found connections with. But unfortunately, the marine life isn't without threat. Pollution is an ongoing issue in between our sister islands, but is more prevalent in Trinidad. Another threat is ghost nets. Ghost nets are nets lost at sea and are a common sight off the west and north coast of Trinidad. These abandoned nets engulf entire habitats where marine life reside, creating death traps for years. Some are able to navigate the deadly maze for now, but others aren't so lucky. Gill nets could also be found along the north coast beaches. Some of these locations are well known to be nesting areas for many species of sea turtle who now face a new challenge when laying eggs. Days, months, and years pass by before ghost nets break down enough to not be a threat to marine life. Sometimes we have to take it upon ourselves to be that change we want to see. As small as a gesture it may be, it's still a step in the right direction. Growing up in a commercial fishing family, I've learned to appreciate the significance of the ocean surrounding our islands and the importance of protecting it. I think that by creating connection with the ocean and its inhabitants, we can find ourselves more inclined to cultivate compassion and become more willing to contribute to the essential positive change. We must not forget how much we rely on healthy waters to keep fishing communities fed, to create and build lifetime relationships with friends, to have a place for us and our children to play, to commute from island to island, to find a spiritual connection and place of solitude.